Hi everyone, it's Rebecca. I'm reaching out to you from my home studio today, and today I want to talk about headstand. I'm going to give you some preparatory steps to do it and also go through the actual pose. And another thing is, I get this question all the time is like, why should we do headstand? It is in the class of poses called inversions, and I think that question actually just comes a lot of times from a place of like fear and anxiety about getting upside down, especially if you're not used to it. I love the pose. It feels really great in my body. It makes me feel strong. It kind of changes my relationship to my surroundings, and it increases circulation to parts of my body that don't often get stimulation, right, through the rest of my yoga poses. So after I go upside down, I actually feel a lot more energized, and also in like a calm way. So I feel like calm and centered, but also have some more energy. It also, to be very honest, as it does with many other inversions, can help with when you're feeling a little bit digestionally clogged, so to speak, a little bit constipated. It can be really wonderful for that. But mostly I use it when I just need to kind of shake things up and get upside down for a while and give myself a little boost of energy, like a little shot of espresso. So, but remember, you don't have to do it like ever. You can still be a fully enlightened person and never do a headstand for the rest of your life. So we're going to go through those stages, and you get to make the choice. As with anything in yoga class, it's up to you. You're your best guide. Listen to your body, do what's right for you. And I'm going to give you some other options so that when your teacher cues that in class and you just don't feel like today's the day to do it, you know what you can do instead. So let's take a look. So I think a good place to start for headstand is actually in child's pose. And I want you to take your hands back by your feet, okay, and rest your forehead on the ground and just start to feel that relationship of your forehead and the floor. So you feel that point of contact. And then a great preparatory pose to come into is rabbit. So I'm going to lift up my hips over my knees and just roll towards the crown of your head. So notice I tucked my chin a little bit as I rolled forward, and I'm just holding on to my backs of my shins here. You can also tuck the toes under. Some people can often reach and hold their heels. I'm rounding the spine and just, again, noticing that relationship that the top of my head has with the ground. I'm trying not to let my shoulders crawl into my ears, and I'm just rolling them a little bit back up towards the sky as I round my whole spine, just like cat pose. Then I'll point my toes back again and just rest again on the forehead. The next place you'll want to go is to practice getting your arms set up in the appropriate way and just starting to connect to the strength the arms are going to have in this pose. So I'm going to start on my elbows and just grab onto my biceps, and that'll show me about the right distance I want between my elbows. I'm going to interlace my fingers together, and instead of the heels of the hands touching, I'm actually going to spread them apart. And from here, I'm going to press my forearms down into the ground and just lift up my hips. So we're in a sort of modified dolphin pose. And I'm letting my head relax. It doesn't have any weight on it at this point. But I'm just pressing my hips back, getting some length in the spine. Of course, you probably would practice this after you've done some warm-ups already, right? Maybe you've been doing 20 or 30 minutes of yoga already, and the body feels a little bit warm. I'm going to test out my strength a little bit by just lifting my head and just bringing my body a little bit forward in space. You might think of bringing your nose over your thumbs, and I'm just drawing in the ribs and the belly, kind of lifting up, filling out the space in the lower back, and testing out my strength. I can press back again, relax the head, and then come back down to the floor, knees down. Again, this is a nice preparation before you go into headstand, or as you're learning along the way to gain strength. So we're going to come back in preparation for, I think, the first stage of headstand. Again, I'm going to grab my biceps, interlace my fingers together, and open the palms apart from one another. Now I'm going to take my head forward, and I want to place a portion of my head on the ground, and the back portion of my head are actually going to wrap inside my hand. So you are actually making contact. Your hands are wrapping behind your head. So I'm going to tuck my chin just like I would for rabbit, and it's not the tippy top portion of my head that's touching the ground. It's just maybe a ½ inch forward, and my hands, as you can see, are wrapping around the upper back side of my head. I'm going to press my forearms down and start to lift my knees off the ground and walk my toes in as close as I can. So I am feeling some contact, some pressure on the head. I'm feeling a lot of pressure on the hands, and this is a great place to just stay. You might stay this for your first few tries, or you might stay in this stage forever. That's fine. You can take as long as you want. From there, I'm going to start to walk my feet in even more if I feel like going a little bit farther. And notice I'm really drawing my shoulders up towards the sky. I'm going to bring one foot in towards my body. I'm really shifting my weight a little bit backwards, and then try to lift up from the strength of the belly, 2 legs in towards the sky. I might stay right here before I feel ready to start slowly extending the legs up towards the sky. Now I know I have kind of a narrow lens here, it's hard to see the top of my feet, but my legs are actually pretty relaxed. You can point or flex through the feet or just have relaxed feet, that's fine. I'm lengthening the tail up towards the sky and keeping my belly in and my ribs pulled together. There is weight in my head. Breaths. And to come down, you have an option. You can split your legs, right, and take 1 foot down at a time. Then bring your knees down. Or, right, from up high, you can go back into that little tucked position, knees in towards your chest. 1 foot down, and then the other. I'm going to take a rest with my knees on the floor, forehead down, in child's pose. Headstand practice, that's classical headstand style. There's also some other types of headstands out there where you change the shape of your arms. But for this tutorial, I was just working on the classical style. So what else can you do if you're just not ready to practice headstand? I think rabbit, again, is a really wonderful pose to practice, you know, experiencing that relationship of having pressure on the head, okay? So I'm going to show you rabbit with another variation, is where I press my forehead down into the floor. I'm going to interlace my hands back behind my body and again roll towards the crown of the head. Press my shins down, round the spine, shoulders roll out of the base of the skull, so away from the ears. And I'm extending my arms overhead. It's a wonderful shoulder stretch, and there is pressure on my head. And I'm looking around, my eyes are open, I'm looking at the world upside down, trying to create, again, some familiarity with this perspective on your surroundings. When I'm done, hands come back down, my hips come back to my heels, and I'm going to rest my forehead down. Arms can be back by your side or forward in front of you. Another great option, I think, is going to be dolphin pose. So taking your forearms parallel on the ground, it's almost like a preparatory or strengthening pose to work eventually into headstand. I'm going to lift my knees, send my hips back, let my head relax. And again, this is, my eyes are wide open. I'm kind of looking around, seeing my world upside down, building strength in the shoulders, building familiarity of being upside down. And then bringing your knees back down, taking a rest from here. So just to kind of circle back, remember there are days that you'll really want to practice headstand and your teacher offers it in class and you're really pumped to do it, and then other days where you might not want to, and that's fine. So instead you can try some of the options I offered, or or do another type of inversion, either just a shoulder stand or legs up the wall, or putting a block underneath your hips as your legs extend towards the sky. So anything that kind of gets you upside down and just brings that circulation out of the legs into the chest and the head. So thanks for listening today. If you have any questions, just post them, and I hope to see you soon in class.